Kalaʻe Lopes. Ha, I almost said want to say Lopes. Kalaʻe Lopes, and Kalaʻe is going to read from The Lovely Bones. Do you? Good. Kalaʻe is going to tell us why it was banned, and then she's going to read one of the passages. Okay, come on.
All right. So this book was challenged because they felt like it would be frightening to middle school students, and because it talks about heaven, so I guess that bothered people who are religious. Mr. Harvey started to press his lips against mine. They were blubbery and wet, and I wanted to scream, but I was too afraid and too exhausted from the fight. I had been kissed once by someone I liked. His name was Ray, and he was Indian. He had an accent and was dark. I wasn't supposed to like him. Clarissa called him Large Eyes with his half-closed lids freakadelic. But he was nice and smart and helped me cheat on my algebra exam while I was pretending he hadn't. He kissed me by my locker the day before we turned in our photos for the yearbook. When the yearbook came out at the end of the summer, I saw that under his picture he had answered the standard, "My heart belongs to," with Susie Salmon. I guess he had plans. I remember that his lips were chapped. "Don't, Mr. Harvey," I managed, and I kept saying that word a lot, don't, and I kept saying please a lot too. Franny told me that almost everyone begged please before dying. "I want you, Susie," he said. "Please," I said. "Don't," I said. Sometimes I combined them. "Please, don't," or "Don't, please." It was like insisting that a key works when it doesn't, or yelling, "I've got it, I've got it, I've got it," as a softball goes sailing over you into the stands. "Please, don't." But he grew tired of hearing me plead. He reached into the pocket of my parka and balled up the hat my mother had made me, smashing it into my mouth. The only sound I made after that was the weak tinkling of bells. As he kissed his wet lips down my face and neck and then began to shove his hands up under my shirt, I wept. I began to leave my body. I began to inhabit the air in the silence. I wept and struggled so I would not feel. He ripped open my pants, not having found the invisible zipper my mother had artfully sewn into the sides. "Big white panties," he said. I felt huge and bloated. I felt like a sea in which he stood and pissed and shat. I felt the corners of my body were turning in on themselves and out, like in Cat's Cradle, which I played with Lindsay just to make her happy. He started working himself over me. "Susie, Susie," I heard my mother calling. "Dinner is ready." He was inside me. He was grunting. "We're having string beans and lamb." I was the mortar. He was the pestle. "Your brother has a new finger painting, and I made apple crumb cake." Mr. Harvey made me lie still underneath him and listen to the beating of his heart and the beating of mine. How mine skipped like a rabbit, how his thudded, a hammer against cloth. We lay there with our bodies touching, and as I shook, a powerful knowledge took hold. He had done this thing to me, and I had lived. That was all. I was breathing. I heard his heart. I smelled his breath. The dark earth surrounding us smelled like what it was, moist dirt where worms and animals live their daily lives. I could have yelled for hours. I knew he was going to kill me. I did not then that I was an animal already dying. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalaʻe. So you can see, like, these are some things that parents may want to protect their children from. But as a community, we have to decide, are these things that we hide from our young people and don't speak about? Or are these things that we give them the words and the opportunity to talk about?